Hello! Hello, everybody.
We had such a great plan for everything to work perfectly from a hotel room last night, and then our intro music didn't want to play this morning. So
yeah, so we're already failing in today's show. But thank you for joining us.
If you joined us to hear our intro music, I apologize. You maybe the outro. We don't know for sure. We'll find out when we end.
Pretty sure the outro is not going to work.
We'll find out.
Well, hello everybody. We are live from the CSUN conference here, 2023. We are in Anaheim, California, and we are having a lovely time so far. The weather has not been very good so far, has it, Corey?
No, it really hasn't. And then if somebody in the chat wouldn't mind doing a quick mic check too to make sure Luke and I sound okay, since we are trying to do this remotely.
Yeah, nobody's complained yet, so I'm assuming that everything is
well,
good.
we have very nice listeners who don't usually complain, but we want them to.
Paula has already put a joke in the chat.
That's what I love. No, the weather has not been great here. So tons of rain.
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain, which is weird for California. But we haven't let the rain dampen our spirits.
No.
So we are having a nice time. We've attended a number of different talks here, and we've seen a number of pieces of assistive technology on the exhibition hall floor. Corey, why don't you tell people who aren't familiar with the CSUN conference what it's all about?
Yeah, so CSUN conference is hosted by actually California State University of Northridge. That's what CSUN stands for. Mm-hmm. And every year they host the International Conference for People with Disabilities. So actually it's an international conference. It's right there in the title.
Yep.
But it's not specifically for people who are visually impaired, but a big part of the conference is a lot of assistive technology, a lot of sessions for people who are blind or visually impaired. There's really two components to the conference. There is the sessions. So for Tuesday through Friday, there's a number of sessions throughout the day covering all kinds of topics, but they're really kind of geared for professionals, about people who kind of work in the industry, less than people like kind of general users.
Yeah.
And then the second component is the exhibit hall, and that's where all the different vendors of assistive technology set up booths and just show everything they have. And it's actually not just assistive technology. Sony is here, Amazon is here.
But they are here to talk about their accessibility features.
Exactly. We even got a lanyard from the CIA.
We did, yeah.
The CIA is here as well too. So there is the exhit hall, and that's open to anybody. So we've been on the floor meeting people, talking to vendors, getting a lot of good video footage for upcoming Tech Connect videos as well.
Yeah. So if anybody's in the Anaheim, California area, or can get here before
tonight, basically yeah. We'll find out tomorrow.
Then you'll be able to walk around the exhibit floor and,
or meet us too.
Yeah, exactly.
We did have our first selfie request. Someone recognized Luke and I and asked to do a selfie. So
somebody from Australia.
Yeah, I know. It was a bit of a ego boost.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, when we went to dinner, I was like, "Do you know who I am? I'm not waiting 40 minutes."
And they said, "No, we have no idea."
No, you're not waiting 60 minutes.
But yes, it's been a nice time. There's obviously a lot of people here from the industry and a lot of people with visual impairments. So it's always fun to see the hotel lobby filled up with guide dogs and people with canes and all of that good stuff. So that's been good, and we have some industry veterans here. We saw a presentation yesterday with Mike May and.
Yep.
And
JJ Meadow.
Thank you. Yeah. So yes, it's been a nice time, and we thought we would spend a bit of time today just talking about some of the things that we've seen. Now, we haven't had a ton of time on in the exhibition hall as of yet, and part of the while we've been there, we have been filming. For upcoming videos, as Corey had said. So I think at the moment, with the amount of footage that we've gathered so far, we have at least 2 videos that we are going to be releasing, which are covering the various different things that we've seen, and we've been lucky in being able to get people who work for the various assistive technology companies to talk to us about their new and exciting products. So that's cool. We just thought we'd give you a bit of a sneak preview today.
Yeah, and I mean we have a number of things to talk about, but as Luke said, we don't have like tons of information because the floor isn't really geared to like sit down and have an extensive conversation. You get hands-on, you get a quick overview. So we're going to be kind of more, I don't want to say introducing things, but we're just going to be kind of talking maybe a higher level versus kind of diving deep into, all the stuff.
We're going to be giving an overview on a number of different things. If anybody has questions as we go, as always, you can go ahead and put anything into the chat that you would like to. And I see that some people already have done, so we'll check out that in a second. Corey, we don't have a joke for today, sadly.
No, I don't. Let me see. Let me see if I can come up with one really quick.
This should be
based
interesting.
on where we are. Okay, I got one.
Go.
What did I say when I woke up this morning and opened up the drapes?
You said, I see the sun.
Yeah, there you go. That's my joke.
Yeah, I kind of wish that was true because sadly we haven't seen the sun for a few days here. Let's see what we have here.
I'm guessing Paul and Paula have put in a better joke.
Yeah, so from Paula, we have a joke. Thank you, Paula. How do you know someone would be good with Microsoft Office? I repeat, how do you know if someone would be good with Microsoft Office? Corey.
If they sweeter program. I don't know. I got nothing.
They always excel.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Now, I don't know which sound effect we're going to
do
get.
the bottom right. Oh, a good one. Yeah, there you go.
I didn't even hear that in my headphones.
Nice. That was the good sound.
I'm going to do it again. Hey. Okay. Good job. Thank you very much, Paula.
Hold on, your mic just got...
Oh, sorry, I may have just cranked my mic accidentally.
There we go.
There we go. All right, so Dr. Douglas says 5 by 5. I think that's in reference to our audio being okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Doug. Also, Paul says sound is good. Shirley, hi guys, nice and loud and clear. Thank you very much. Svetlana says can't wait to see those videos. So yes, hopefully we are hoping. So we have Jonathan on our call today, and Jonathan is our video editor and producer extraordinaire, and he's going to be putting together the videos. Now, normally he has a couple of weeks to put together a video, but we're going to challenge him with this one and try and get one out within a week.
5 days.
We get back. Well, within 5 days, yeah. So Corey is going to be flying back from the conference tomorrow.
Yep.
And he's going to take the footage back with him, and so we're hoping that Jonathan will be able to fire on all cylinders and get something out by the end of that week. So that would be Saturday, basically.
Saturday, yeah. We have a new release schedule. Saturdays are when the videos come out. Yep. So he's got Monday to Saturday.
So Jonathan, Godspeed, and everybody, please send your good wishes over to him. Yes. So then we should, I think, probably then have the second part out 2 weeks after that.
Yeah, probably about that. Maybe, we might. Yeah,
or maybe even
I think
before.
We talked about maybe. Well, whatever. Yes, we will have 2 videos, and they will release on our YouTube channel.
They will. Yeah, at some point, and they will be about something.
We make no promises after that.
Yep. Lynn asks, which celebrity is always ready for cereal? For some reason, my mind went to Miley Cyrus, but that makes no sense.
Okay.
I actually know this one.
Oh, Jonathan, popping in. All right, go for it, Jonathan. What is it?
I believe it could be Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
Yes.
Reese Witherspoon. Thank you, Lynn.
Reese with a spoon.
Oh, her spoon.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. That is way too high a quality for our show, Lynn. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you very much. As like I say, if anybody else has anything to say in the chat, then please go ahead. Do forgive us if our show is less. What's the word I want to say here?
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but really being in a hotel in California on bad internet and not in our normal gear, is it really different than what happens back at the studio? I mean, honestly.
Well, I was just going to say, because we went out last night with Sam from The Blind Life.
Yep.
Had a very nice time. We went to a Mexican joint.
We did. It was very good.
Enjoyed some food.
So good that we might go back again.
So good that we might go back tonight. And I personally woke up at 5:30 this morning for some reason. I've been awake since then. So now I know some people get up at 5:30 out of choice.
That is true.
I'm not that person.
I'm not sure why they do that out of choice,
exactly.
But yes, some people do.
Although to be fair, I guess 5:30 here is really 7:30 back in Wisconsin.
That's true.
Yeah,
the CDT.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Yes,
Thank you to Jim.
Thank you
It
to
is
Jim.
CDT, yes.
Well, it's not.
We're not CST anymore.
We are CDT.
I actually before Jim even said. Anyways, I didn't know the difference. I've seen CST and CDT and never really put two and two together. So
if anybody else knows,
anybody
else knows the difference, please put it in the chat. All right, so Corey, our first thing that we will talk about. These are in no particular order, by the way. These are just the order that we thought of them this morning.
Yes.
So we went to a presentation.
We did.
By a very, well, you don't even know what I'm going to talk about yet.
But we did go to a presentation.
Okay, fair enough.
That wasn't a lie.
We went to a presentation from a very nice gentleman, and he told us all about a program called Morphic.
Oh, yeah, that is,
Yeah, Corey, what is Morphic and why do we care?
So, a couple interesting things. So, Morphic is a small open source utility, so it's completely free, that you can install on your Windows or Mac computer. And you have to help me, Luke, because it was a bit visual, but my understanding is what it does is it doesn't have its own accessibility features built in. Like, it doesn't have its own magnifier or its own speech.
Yeah.
But what it does is it brings all of the built-in magnification, or built-in accessibility to the forefront on this like Morphic bar that just shows up anywhere you're at. So rather than what he was really pushing was your users don't ever have to go to the control panel. What's the control panel? What's ease? Well, they don't even call it ease of access. What is accessibility now? So basically, it just allows you to access all of those features without getting lost in the control panel or the accessibility window.
Yep, you absolutely nailed it. So, yeah, it's an interface for the accessibility built into your PC or Mac, as Corey said, and it basically presents you with a floating bar. And that floating bar has certain buttons on it. So, for example, there is a text size buttons. And using the plus and minus on the text size buttons will essentially increase or decrease the screen resolution to make everything bigger or smaller. It's a little bit misleading that because on the Windows side, text size in the accessibility options actually does something slightly different. But anyway, pressing those buttons on the Morphic bar will increase the size of everything or decrease the size of everything. We also have speech output options, and actually they have done something custom on the Windows side.
They did. It's not like they cobbled some stuff together, but yes, you're right.
Yeah, so on the Windows side, they actually created a select to speak, I'm going to call it. It's the way that it works on Mac already, but basically they have made it on the Windows side so that you can highlight text and then hit a play button and it will read the highlighted text.
And while it's reading, then a bar shows up for you to change turtle and rabbit and all that kind of stuff.
Well, actually, that was on the Mac side.
Was that only the Mac?
Yeah, because that's already functionality built into the Mac. But on the Windows side, it doesn't normally work by highlighting, but they have made it so it does, so that there is parity between the two different versions.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty nice.
The other two things that I really liked about it is, number one, you can create custom buttons. So if you always go to Gmail, or you always, he mentioned that some people struggle when they plug in a USB flash drive to find the flash drive. You could have a button that just goes right to it for you.
Yeah.
And then the other thing with those buttons, what was so cool is that you could go to a website, create those buttons, and then it got pushed to that user. So if you were supporting a friend or family member or whatever, you could create those custom buttons and it gets pushed to that user, so you don't actually have to be on their computer. So I thought that was really cool.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, so there's some customizability there. Some of the other shortcut buttons that come included with it is just some different color modes. So there's like there's a button to turn on and off the high contrast mode. There's a button to turn on what's the word I'm looking for here? Color blindness. Color blindness. The color filters. There's also a button to not turn on the high contrast mode, but turn on some of the different color themes and stuff like that. So that's the stuff that comes with it automatically. But as Corey said, you can create these custom buttons, and those can be created remotely for other people. And so obviously those would be created by somebody with a little bit more computer skill.
Yeah, I'm curious if that piece is accessible. We're going to have to test that. Because he did say something about dragging the bar button onto the bar. But he did, somebody did ask, okay, obviously this is a little bit geared towards low vision users.
Yeah.
But he said it's 100% keyboard accessible. Even if you're a low vision user. But from a screen reader standpoint, I'd be curious what... Maybe some of the custom buttons could be helpful, but obviously some of those other buttons from a screen reader standpoint wouldn't make a heck of a lot of sense. But
so
do some testing though.
It seemed like a really nice thing. I mean, it's free. It works on Mac, which is cool because there isn't a lot of kind of third-party stuff.
Yeah.
It works on PC, and it just makes accessing the accessibility just that little bit easier. So we thought, definitely has a lot of utility, and it's something that we're going to do a video on, I think.
Either a video, for sure a video, maybe a Tech Connect Live, depending on. We haven't had a chance to really test it yet, but again, being open source and completely free, I think it makes a lot of, it's kind of one of those ingenious ideas where it's like, built-in accessibility is there, but you forget sometimes how hard it can be for people to find that. You could say, well, Windows has magnification, don't worry about it. Yeah, but getting to it, turning it on. So being able to have this Morphic, I think could be pretty huge for people.
Yeah, because here's an example. I had a client a couple of days ago, and I was talking about Windows accessibility with them, and I printed them off our usual handout.
Yeah.
And at the start of the handout, it says, this is for Windows 10, so it says, in order to find all of these features, press the Windows key, type in ease of access, press enter. Okay, and you'll be taken to where they all are. And her question was, what's the Windows key? So it just goes to show that there is definitely a need there. Now, Hannah says, how is that different from the Google Read and Write extension? And I have to admit, I haven't tried the Google Read and Write extension. I assume that works in...
I was going to say, is that Chrome, is that extension is going to show up only in Chrome Windows, Hannah? Or I don't think that's... operating system wide, where this Morphic bar is everywhere. It doesn't matter what program you're in.
Yeah, so correct us if we're wrong there, Hannah.
Please.
But this is a system wide thing. It's not a browser specific thing. If you want to check it out, I'm not sure what the direct URL is, but if you just search for Morphic, open source.
Yeah, I would do Morphic low vision. You'll probably find it. It's through, if I'm not mistaken, the gentleman that presented and really developed it it's all through grants and charity and stuff. But he's from the University of Maryland. And Greg was his name.
Oh, well remembered.
Greg Van.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think the University of Maryland is sort of part of this as well too. But
that was one concern, and thank you. Jonathan's put a link. Actually, though, Jonathan, you might want to, because you sent that to hosts and panelists. So send it again, Jonathan, and make sure you send it to everyone. A link to the website there, which is just morphic.org.
No, who would have guessed?
Yeah, no, right? Yeah, crazy. Our only concern with it was that because it's free and open source, and that's great, but then it's relying on funding. So then what happens if that funding disappears and somebody has come to rely on this, this thing? That could potentially cause them problems in the future. But I mean, I guess you could say that about anything.
That's true about every. Zoom text, JAWS.
Exactly.
I mean, even Windows. To a certain extent, it's probably not. I mean, really not going anywhere. But
you would certainly hope not. But anyway, that was our first thing. We thought it was really cool. We didn't know about it before we came to the conference, so that was definitely worth checking out. Okay, next on the list, Corey. Something that we took a look at yesterday and filmed some footage of.
Yeah.
We have the Graffiti Plus and unknown Windows 11 device from Orbit Research.
Yeah, so Orbit Research has been around for a while. Their big one was the Orbit Braille display that they kind of worked on with, I believe it was APH at the time. They have the Orbit Writer that's been around for a while, little kind of Braille-ish keyboard that you can Bluetooth to your phone. Now what they've done is they've got the Orbit Graffiti and Graffiti Plus, and basically this is a full tactile graphic display. And, I'll be honest, as I'm not a strong Braille user at all, so some of these Braille displays sort of are over my head, and then this is like a whole nother level. But basically, it is just a big tablet, multi-cell Braille display, multi-line Braille display that has the ability to display graphics. So, for example, he was saying how you could, grab an image or grab a chart from online, throw it on an SD card, pop it in, and instantly you've got a tactile representation of that picture or chart right on your display. There's no translation going on. You don't have to send it through another computer program or anything like that. It's all happening right on the display. I think another cool use case is like thinking about showing maps too, so you could look at maps. He mentioned that each pin has 5 different height that it can be.
Yep.
And because of that, not only can they display 2D, but they can also do 3D because the pins can be at different heights, so it can represent 3D objects.
Yep.
And a couple other things, one of the things I really liked about it too is that the pins are strong enough so you can keep your hand on the display as it's changing. And you might think, well, what is that? Oh, great, what does that mean? But if you think about it, if you're kind of feeling something and changes take place and you don't have to remove your hand, you can feel those changes take place real time versus lifting your hand, letting the pins create the new image and then bringing your hand back down and then trying to figure out what the difference is. Being able to feel those happening real time is really cool.
And you could have an image like a GIF or something like that, for example, which has some movement in it, and you might be able to interpret, the movement in the image there, whatever it might be.
It's got HDMI input as well and output, but for input, for example, you can connect it to your iPhone and then get a tactile representation of like your home screen and things like that right on the display.
Pretty clever.
The difference between the Graffiti and the Graffiti Plus, which I didn't know, which is I'm glad I asked Venkesh, yes.
Yeah.
Basically, so tactile graphic displays and traditional Braille displays are different. Mm-hmm. You can't, one display can't do both. So the Graffiti is strictly the tactile graphic, where the Graffiti Plus is the tactile graphic, but then also has a 20-cell Braille display built in as well. So you get both a traditional Braille display and a graphic display.
Yeah, because he said that with the actual graphing part, then the pins are equidistant from each other, whereas with the actual Braille display part, then that doesn't work for if you're reading Braille.
Yes.
So that was pretty interesting. An example that he showed to me was an envelope.
That's right.
So basically with the envelope, the kind of the pointed fold part, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That part was raised higher on the pins than the outside of the envelope. So you could kind of feel that pointed part, and it stood out more and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, really interesting piece of technology, and I can see a lot of potential uses, especially in a school.
Yes, I think that's where you really see it.
But I mean, I guess for working professionals as well, if you're having to deal with a lot of charts and
stuff
like that.
That's true.
Yeah. Only downside, Corey, was?
Graffiti was $15,000, and the Graffiti Plus is $18,000. So,
Yeah.
You want to check your mic for a second?
Oh, sure.
I think it's rubbing.
Is it?
Yeah. Getting a bunch of rub. The other orbit thingy jobber, that's actually the name for it, because
it could be, as far as we know.
Can't remember the name, was a Windows 11 tablet with a Braille display and keyboard built in.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say built in per se, but it was what was kind of interesting about it is you could just use it. Comes with NVDA, already configured both on the speech and Braille side of it. But he was talking about, and you're going to have to tell me because I forgot to ask you, but I think I know. He was talking about shells that could be put on it for like individuals who prefer the note-taking experience versus a full Windows. Now, when he said shell, he's
not
talking software.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Yeah. At first, I was thinking he was talking about hardware shells where you could kind of change it. But then as we talked, I assumed it was software, but I just wanted to confirm.
Svetlana tells us it's called Optima, so thank you for that.
Oh, that's
Svetlana.
right.
Yeah.
And so this was really cool too, because I like this thought of, hey, here's a Windows 11 machine, which you it was very configurable from processor to memory, and not only that, but even the hardware. What, did you want USB-C? Did you want USB-A? You had all those choices, which was really cool. But the idea then of like, hey, here's a straight advanced Windows 11, go for it. Or, hey, I'm more of a note-taking kind of person, give me a more simplified shell kind of, so I mail, calendar, whatever, so it's simplified to use. But then you sort of graduate, if you choose to, you can get rid of that shell and go into sort of the whole Windows 11 as well.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was physically, it looked like a Braille note taker, but just with a full keyboard on it.
Yeah.
And there was an HDMI out as well, so you could connect it to a screen.
Yeah.
But obviously, the whole point is you don't need to do that. And it was a really neat computing solution, I thought. Obviously, it's one of those things where you'd have to kind of get it to test performance and all of that stuff. I know you have very strict,
Well, JAWS can just be a hog sometimes, but I like the idea. We've seen these before. I remember having a Pocket PC from GW Micro over 20 years ago, probably at this point. And they usually, and even some of the Packmates and stuff, they were always good, but the problem was they were always 2-year-old hardware by the time they released it. And I understand why. But these seem, now that we're using mainstream, both this one and then remember the Insight Plus? So that was that, I think it was Insight, wasn't it? That was that other, the Insight 1 they used to have, and then remember, that's the same similar Braille display, built-in tablet kind of piece.
Yeah.
And then he said, the Insight 1 had performance issues, and now the Insight Plus has an i7 processor.
That's right.
So there's another version of this too. And again, that's always my biggest worry is, when you buy a specialized device like that, if it's underpowered from the get-go, you're just a downhill battle then.
He did also say you can remove Windows and put Linux on it as well.
I know, that was pretty interesting.
I said, that's cool.
You can do that. You can do that.
Thanks for the offer. Doug asks if you can access the Morphic bar with JAWS, and Jonathan very handily puts in the chat here that Morphic supported screen reader is JAWS, NVDA, and VoiceOver. So there you go. But I don't know how much you would want to do that because it is geared toward low vision users.
I'm excited to get back to the office. I want to install it because I'm curious again. Is it the shortcut buttons? Although you could probably just do that via desktop.
I very much wonder what those shortcuts are and if they're customizable.
Well, it sure seemed like they were pretty customizable. Like to be able to create one that goes. Creating one to a website's pretty easy.
Not those. I'm talking about actually like the shortcut keys for carrying out the different functions.
Yeah.
I just kind of wonder what those are.
Yeah.
And whether they're customized.
And that's always hard because so many times they're interrupting with.
Other
screen
things,
reader.
The only thing, just going back to the Morphic for a second, the only thing that was a little bit weird is the Morphic bar itself was actually kind of small, which defeats the purpose, really.
And somebody asked, like, is that can we change that? And as of right now, he said no. Right. But it's not
actually,
like it was.
If you use the text size buttons, because it resizes everything, the Morphic bar does get bigger.
Okay.
It's not exactly
I think he said they were working on that, though, didn't they?
I forget.
That they were going to. That seems like a natural.
You would have thought they would have made it a little larger. Another button on the Morphic bar was to turn on the magnifier as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And then if you wanted to access further options, so the magnifier, for example, when he clicked the button, it was in lens mode on the Windows side there. But if you right-clicked on that magnifier button, then you could actually choose some other things, so you could put it into full screen mode.
And I think that was true for all of the buttons. They all worked the same way. Right-click any of the buttons, and then there was like a settings or a,
so if you wanted to dive in a little bit further, you could, but you didn't need to. All right, next thing we have is the Compact 8. Not too much to say about this one. But we thought anyway, so we stopped by the Vispero booth and took a look at what they have. Now, Vispero is the
juggernaut.
The biggest assistive technology company for low vision and blindness stuff out there, as far as I'm aware.
I think they are.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's something else in Asia.
I guess it depends what you mean by biggest. But they bought a bunch of other people.
They bought a bunch of other people. So a lot of companies belong to Vispero at this point. Now, so we had a look at their booth, but they didn't really have anything that struck us as being particularly new.
No, I don't. Nothing special outside of that.
Yeah. So the only thing that we saw that we weren't aware of was the Compact 8. This is from the Optelec side of Vispero. It's just an 8-inch portable magnifier, so not too much to talk about there. If you are familiar with the Compact 10, that's a really great device. The Compact 10 is a 10-inch fully touchscreen device. But the thing about the Compact 10 is it has a camera that folds out of the top, and that camera can be used for full-page OCR and also used for writing underneath. That's the Compact 10. The Compact 8, unfortunately, does not have that. So all you are left with really is an 8-inch portable magnifier with two things which mark it out somewhat. One of those things is image quality. They made a big deal about trying to read text.
Dynamic contrast.
Oh, well done.
Is what they call
very
it.
Impressive, so trying to read, let's say you have poor contrast in the text you're trying to read, right? You've got black text on a blue background, something like that. And a traditional electronic magnifier is struggling to make that clear in the high contrast modes. It's all just washed out, whatever. So with this device, then it basically has some algorithmic processing that ensures that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of an issue that is.
And it worked pretty well, though.
It
right?
worked really well.
Although, like you said, in real life, how often does it happen?
But he had a magazine. I forget what the colors were, but there was a paragraph of text. The colors were a little bit funky. He tried one of their other electronic magnifiers, and it washed out all the text. You couldn't see anything. And then he put this Compact 8 on there, and it was perfectly clear. So that was good. And the quality of the image in general was excellent. Color reproduction, fantastic. So
Optelec usually does a pretty good job.
Yeah. So
both build quality and
I would agree. Design and everything. That was that, and then the other unique feature in quotes is the panning. So they have live panning. We've seen this in other devices as well, but it does work well. So when you're in the live magnification mode, if you're at the lowest magnification, you can't do any panning. But if you zoom in, now you can pan to the extent of the camera's field of view just using your finger on the touch screen. And the field of view with the camera is pretty good. So it is practical to some extent but you're not going to read across an entire line of it.
Yeah, you can't see the whole.
Yeah, because
basically I would assume whatever it sees at lowest mag
is what you're going to pan.
Yeah, is how much you're going to be able to.
Yeah. So we've seen this type of feature before with other devices, but anyway, it's a nice little magnifier. If you're in the market for a mid-sized electronic magnifier, you could definitely do a lot worse than go for that, but nothing too exciting.
And I think they said, I can remember now. I think they have a Compact 6 or 7 and 9 or something. It's this 8 is replacing 2 current compacts, and I forget now the 6 for sure, but I can't remember if the other one. I think it was a 7.
They have a Compact 7. Yeah.
I don't know why you have a 6, 7, 8, but at this point, but anyways, it sounds like it's replacing that in their lineup.
Is it? Oh yeah, I don't remember.
What's it?
Have they released it?
I thought so. I thought so.
So, if you're interested in that, then you can go
check it out.
Did I? I tried to find it on the website. I don't know, maybe it hasn't released actually, because I tried to find it on their website so I could show it, but it wasn't on their website.
Yet?
So
okay.
So maybe it actually hasn't released yet.
I don't think we asked retail. We didn't ask a price on that one either.
No. Well, the Compact 10 was $15.95.
Okay.
That was for the version that read, which was a good price actually for full page OCR and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But then they increased the prices.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I'm not 100% sure what that is, but I would expect that this one would be a few $100 cheaper. All right. For the next one.
Sure.
Ooh.
What time is it? How's that time?
We've still got 25 minutes, so we've got plenty of time. Patriot Voice EZ.
Yeah, so
did you find it easy to use?
Well, I didn't actually end up getting hands-on. But,
fair enough.
This one was this is a standalone OCR device. And really, they kind of went back to a really traditional EZ type mode. It really just had 3 big dials on it. One did your speed, one did your volume, and the last one was a play pause.
Yeah, so we have
I think so.
a button that you can push to do the scan, a pause play button. We have a button that will do spelling, and then you can also change the way that it's reading. You can change the voice. You can skip backward and forward. Like each button does different stuff depending on if you turn it, if you press it, so on and so forth.
And one of a couple of cool things I liked about it was you just put the piece of paper down on the tray, and it instantly. And it was almost instantaneous from the time it captured the image to starting to read, and it was quite accurate. So for somebody looking for a standalone OCR device, there isn't a whole lot of them on the market. The Smart Reader HD from Enhanced Vision. This one... Clear, is Clear Reader? Do they still have?
I think so.
Okay, so there. I mean, there's a few out there, but it looks pretty good, according to John Palmer from Patriot. If Einstein was here, he would have said it was genius.
He would agree that it was genius.
He would have agreed it was genius. But it did. It was very quick to capture the image. It was good, accurate. Other than that, I mean. I'm not poo-pooing the device at all. It's a standalone OCR device.
Yeah,
it does what it does, and it does it well.
You say that, but I do think because traditionally those standalones, like leaving the Orcam aside as its own device, those standalones, you've had to sit there and wait while they process the
That's
image.
actually, I guess you're right. Now that I think back, even the Smart Reader, it makes its little blinker sound.
Exactly.
And you're right, it is a good 15, 20 seconds where this was instantaneous.
Yeah.
So you're right, that does stand it apart pretty good.
I think even just from that point of view, it's worthwhile. They did have a previous OCR device, which I forget the name of, but it was exactly the same style of chassis.
Yeah.
But what they had with that one is they essentially had like a smartphone, which was the display for the device.
Yeah.
And they had little cutouts so you could kind of reach through and press on the smartphone, and it did different things. But that one was significantly more complex.
Yeah.
There was more you could do with it. It had Alexa built in for some reason.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Which I don't, I don't know that you could trigger it to take a picture.
No, not with Alexa, no. But you could, I guess you could ask it what the weather was. I have no idea.
I suppose they added it because it was a smartphone and they could. That's really what it came down to.
Yeah, but that device anyway, that one had significantly more going on with it, but it was also significantly more complicated. Whereas with this one, it's definitely being designed to be simple.
And I think that makes sense because I'm not stereotyping or pigeonholing, but most people who are looking for a standalone OCR device are individuals who are not super tech savvy, who don't want a complex thing. So having a complex standalone OCR solution just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they should use a simple one. Yeah. So did we get a price on that? I forget.
20. Yeah, 23, 25, something like that.
I think it's 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, let me just check.
It's right in that area.
On the webpage. They say it is...
2,400.
25.95.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. So close enough. But yeah, I don't really have a lot of experience with Patriot products, so if anybody in the chat does, then feel free to let us know what they're like in terms of longevity, in terms of build quality, and so on and so forth. I have seen the Patriot Viewpoint at a conference before, which is essentially an Iris Vision ripoff, but it really, I really did think it was quite good. So hopefully that means
wearable magnification device.
Yeah, so hopefully that means in general their products are good, but not having a lot of experience, I wouldn't like to say for sure. I will say John Palmer was an entertaining guy.
Mr. Palmer.
Mr. Palmer. And we do have we have footage of that one as well for our video that we'll be releasing. Yeah, I think we have footage on all of these.
I think so far.
Oh, except we don't have the Compact 8 yet, actually.
We didn't get permission yet.
Yeah. There's a chat from YouTube live stream. Thoughts about ChatGPT-4's new image reading capabilities? BeMyEyes also playing with GPT-4. Stefan, we have no thoughts about that at the moment, but that is definitely something that we might take a look at.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, we did release our video on ChatGPT, but that was GPT-3, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah, so... that's something that we'll have to go take a look at. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Jim says the Alexa feature in the Patriot Plus, that was the name of the other one, obviously, is not well designed. You cannot log into your personal Amazon account, so it often gives the weather for some place in California.
What?
Well, if you checked that right now, it would say the weather wasn't very good.
I mean, what's the point of having if it's not your own personal like that?
I guess you can ask it questions.
I guess.
Maybe he plays radio stations.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who knows?
Do you want to jump to good?
Yes.
Maps, just for time-wise?
Yes.
Okay. So we also sat in on a conference. We sat in on a session with Mike May and JJ Meadow, and what they were talking about. Mike May, if you're not familiar with Michael May, he has been in the navigation business for, I don't even know what he said, 30 years or more.
Yeah.
He started Sendero, which were really the leading GPS provider for people who are blind or visually impaired. He had moved to, I thought he was with IRA for a bit, but I might be wrong on that one.
I don't think he mentioned that in the conference.
Yeah, but anyways, he is now he's now running a company called GoodMaps, and basically what he's...
No, I don't think he's running it, though. He said he was the chief evangelist.
That's, okay, you're right, sorry. Yeah, he's part of it, I shouldn't say running. And basically what they're doing, what GoodMaps is doing, is they're focusing on indoor navigation. So when we look at the indoor navigation, well, first of all, when we look at outdoor navigation, we're obviously working with satellite.
Sorry, that was my bad.
Okay. We're working with satellites, and as long as you're outside getting satellite connection, you're going to get GPS and location and all that good stuff. But as soon as we go into a building, we lose that connection to the satellite, so now we have there is no navigation that can be done. So for years and years now, we've been trying to figure out, as in I'm part of it, years and years they've been trying to figure out what to do for indoor navigation. And if I'm not mistaken, there's really 3 ways they do navigation right now. And now I'm going to...
we have the beacons.
So one is using beacons. So this is a number of individuals. You might remember Apple released iBeacons. These are little devices that can be placed, and they're usually running off of Bluetooth LE or low energy. And so as you walk by the beacons, they'll give you information and blah, blah, blah. So that's one way of doing it. The other way was doing...
We have Wi-Fi signal.
Was that how they were? Yeah, you're right. I think they were using, trying to scan Wi-Fi networks and then kind of get your location within a building through the Wi-Fi. And then the last one that they're doing, which is what GoodMaps has been doing, is using LiDAR. Yes. So LiDAR's been around for a while now. You saw it first in automated cars. It was added to Android and iPhone devices, and basically LiDAR gives you way more information, distance, and things like that. So what GoodMaps does is they come into a location. For example, they came here to the Marriott Hotel where CSUN is on Monday, and they come in with a handheld device and they scan and walk through the entire building. And what they're doing is scanning everything, scan ceilings, walls, floor, everything. They're just scanning. And then all that gets uploaded to their servers. Their engineers work on it really quick to make an accurate map and label different locations and all that. And then as long as you have your GoodMaps app, which is free, and you come to a building that's been scanned, you're now going to get indoor navigation based off of those LiDAR scans.
Yeah, so you have to hold your phone up in front of you, I believe.
Yeah, almost as if you're using BeMyEyes or IRA. You need that camera pointing out in front of you, your rear camera, so your rear camera can see where you are. And what I'm guessing it's doing, I mean, this has to be the way it's doing it, is that in real time, that camera sees where it is and then compares it to the scan, and then tells you where you are and gives you step-by-step directions. Walk 50 feet, turn left. So you can choose. For example, they have labeled all the exhibit booths here, and so you could choose a specific booth and get directions straight to it from wherever you are.
Yeah. So the idea is with this is it would be free to users. The expense would be on the behalf of the locations themselves.
Correct.
So if a hotel wanted to map everything, then they would have to pay, and so on and so forth. And then there were some people, so Corey's downloaded the app, but we haven't tried it yet, but we are going to try it today and possibly shoot some footage for a video on it. But some people in the audience who spoke up basically said that it had been taking them round in circles. So
walk 50 feet, turn around, walk 50 feet, turn around. So, but I know that I'm interested to try it because I know, there has been people who have said it works great. I mean, Michael was talking about a mall up in Canada where it was done, and he was shopping independently, cruising around. So
bear in mind, though, Corey, he is the chief evangelist.
He is the chief. I mean, it's not. Most evangelists aren't going to be like, this doesn't work at all.
Exactly.
But Michael may, again, I feel like there's a little bit of credibility there too. Like he's been in it for so long, he's not going to waste his time with something that doesn't work. But
yes.
I'll be curious to check it out. I want to see how accurate and how well it works. I think it's a really cool, for an organization to get scanned. He said you also have, so one of the upsides to doing LiDAR versus beacons or especially Wi-Fi as well, Wi-Fi is really the worst out of all of them. It just, there's not a lot of accuracy.
There is another method as well.
Okay.
Which is using not the QR codes, but the next generation.
Oh,
QR
yeah.
codes, whatever those are called.
BeMyEyes?
So that sounds right.
Something like that. Yeah. Yes, like NaviLens uses that.
Because we went to a presentation where some people were talking about some of those solutions also. Yeah.
So what's nice about the LiDAR solution is that there's really no upkeep. I mean, once they come in and scan, there's no hardware that's left to be upkept. Really the only time something needs to be changed is if actual construction happens and build,
or if
walls.
The room use changes.
But if the room use changes, the location has access to a dashboard where they just go in themselves and change those names of the room. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome. So you can just go in as it doesn't cost you any money. You have that dashboard. But again, obviously, if you tear down walls and remodel, then you're going to have to come in and scan again.
I would suggest, though, even if it's just a case of accessing a dashboard and changing room names, you still get the question of who's responsible for that and do they remember to do it.
Exactly. Absolutely. But out of all the solutions, it seemed to be the most promising. But again, I'm going to try it today. I'm curious how it works.
It's really the only practical solution.
I would agree. Long-term practical.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
As long as it works properly, then it's definitely the most practical solution.
And it really is indoor navigation is the future, and it is, people who are blind or visually impaired using GPS. We've been it's been great to be able to get to the door. But it's always either, first with GPS, it's always the last 10 feet that's the hardest.
Yes.
Like it tells you you're at the store, but now trying to find the door is a pain.
Right.
But once you get inside, then that's like a whole new battle that we just haven't been able to accomplish. So this indoor navigation, once it's done, and what the other positive piece too is the indoor navigation is not just beneficial for people who are blind and visually impaired. It's also beneficial for sighted individuals to get around airports and stuff, which means most likely we'll see it, roll out faster. So that's awesome. Cool.
Something to look forward to there. And Corey, talking about navigation, why don't we just quickly roll into OCO? I don't want to spend too much time because we are going to have a show on this, but
OCO is they were actually in Milwaukee doing a quick meetup, but basically OCO is a iPhone only right now app that allows you to, using artificial intelligence, allows you to identify walk, don't walk, and count down traffic signals. Mm-hmm. So, for example, we took it out last night when we walked over to the Mexican restaurant, and what I launched the OCO app, pointed it at the corner straight across where I was crossing to. Took me just a second to kind of move and find it, and once it hit it, I got both tactile, so it would vibrate, and beep, and mimicked sort of the same audio signal you'd hear. So when it was don't walk, it was just beep, beep, and so it would vibrate. Once it was the walk sign, then it vibrated quickly, beep, 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 beep. Mm-hmm. And then when the countdown timer, then you got another different tactile signal too. Visually, you'd also get a green, red, yellow, green, so you kind of knew what to do there. Free.
Yes.
Accurate. It worked pretty well yesterday. Yeah. We're not going to dive much into it because on March 30, whatever our next Tech Connect Live is, the 30 or 31st. 2 weeks from today. Yeah. We're going to have Michael on from OCO who will be coming and talking about it more. So if you're interested in that, we'll talk more in 2 weeks.
So really exciting
it's really
technology,
cool.
I think. And available in 2 countries right now. But,
Belgium and the United States.
Hopefully,
Yep.
So. All right, on to the next thing, which is Orcam read stand. I'll talk real quick about this.
Yeah, please.
The Orcam read is a really neat OCR device. It's a handheld OCR device. We have a produced video on it, so you can always go to our YouTube channel and take a look at that if you aren't familiar with it. But they have just come out with a stand for it. It retails for $200. It's not anything super exciting, but what we have basically is a collapsible stand, and the idea is to put the Orcam read at the correct distance to capture an 8.5 by 11. So the stand itself, the base has a kind of back bar and then two side bars. So you can feel to position the paper correctly inside there. That will fit in your 8.5 by 11 in a portrait format. And then there is an adjustable height bar. So actually, if you are doing a smaller document, you can actually lower the level of the bar. But if it's a larger document, you'll want to raise the level of the bar to put the Orcam reader further distance, give it a wider field of view. And like I say, we'll capture an 8.5 by 11. Now, you can also actually rotate. So the Orcam read kind of just slots into a little pocket at the top of the bar, and you can also rotate that so you can use it for OCR in the distance as well.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I guess if you're in a school context or something like that, then that's the idea behind that. So, like I say, nothing crazy, but it did seem like a useful addition. I think 200 is a little steep, to be honest.
Well, but remember, it also came with the external speaker.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So it came with a speaker that you could connect, so it would make it louder. And he did make it clear, like if you buy it standalone. So my guess is if you're buying a read outright, brand new, I'm guessing the stand's going to be cheaper.
They do a package deal, and I forgot how much he said that was now. I forgot about that speaker. I don't know if that was built into the stand.
I don't think it was. You got it with the stand, but he said it was a place to slot it into like somewhere. So yeah.
Svetlana says, thank you very much, guys. Your input is very important, especially for any international viewers who'd like to learn about CSUN and what exhibitors are offering there. Yeah. By the way, they have very, very good wineries in California. That's a very good point. Yeah. So I'm actually vacationing here after the end of CSUN for a few days with my wife. So maybe we'll.
I'm flying out tomorrow morning, so no wineries.
No wineries for you, sadly. No. But yes, maybe my wife and I will check some of those out. And thank you.
Maybe Sedona Dave can. Take you out. We should.
Let's talk about Sedona Dave. Yeah.
So we met Sedona Dave, a gentleman named Dave who lives in Sedona. We were actually introduced to him from Barry Asman from. Blind Shell and in the Low Vision shop.
That's right.
Is that okay? Yeah. Anyways, so Sedona Dave is the owner of AwareWolf gear.
Well remembered.
AwareWolf gear.
Very well remembered.
And he's created a product called ATC, All Terrain Cane.
Yes.
And when I first saw this cane, actually Sam from the Blind Life, we ran into him and we actually saw it first from him.
Yep.
And it's a graphite. I'm sorry. It is a titanium cane, foldable with metal. The inside kind of cord is metal.
Yes.
Comes with a big roller ball tip. It has a 16-inch handle on it, and it also has this interesting clip. When you unclip it, it goes from 51 to 61 inches. And at first, not being an outdoorsy guy. Which you can kind of tell.
I would never have guessed.
Yeah. I didn't understand. Like, I just buy my cane. I get this length.
Why does it need to change length?
But when you're an outdoors person and you are hiking or you're going up a cliff or down or a beach, you want to change the length of your cane. And then you're also changing the grip of your cane depending on what you're doing too. So this cane allowed you to more safely travel, doing hiking and that kind of stuff. And I don't think it has to be straight hiking. I actually liked it, again, even though I'll never hike.
Yeah.
I'm looking at picking one up too because I thought it was quite light for how strong it was, and I thought it was a great cane.
Yeah, Sam was using it last night as we walked to the Mexican, and so that wasn't a hike; it was just a walk around the block.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect for that too. Judging by Sedona Dave and how fit he seems,
yeah, exactly,
I would say that it definitely seems like it does the job.
He is a perfect example of inventing something because of a need.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And it retails for $120, and you can get it from AwareWolfGear.com.
Yeah, and Jonathan's put that in the chat as well. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah, we also got to touch some genuine Sedona rocks.
Oh, he did bring some, yeah.
Yeah, so there were some rocks that had been brought over from Sedona, and Barry Asman told us that we needed to touch them and get the energy of Sedona.
Good vibes.
Yeah, so if we seem particularly energetic today, then that's probably why.
Mine wore off. I'm having a Sedona rock hangover right now.
Doug says, I like the Orcam read. It works great, and I find it easier to use than the Orcam attached to my glasses. Thank you. That's good feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot cheaper as well, so that's always a bonus. And I think we have time for one more. So I'm gonna make an executive decision. Here, because I'm going to talk about this because this isn't going to be part of our video.
No, I don't want to.
Which will be the Retinal Projector QD laser.
Yes, I believe
Quantum dot.
I believe it was RM-258-TI.
It was a very uncatchy name.
It did not have a retail name just yet.
No. Actually, quickly before I do that, I forgot. Let me switch to our desktop share here. I will just quickly bring up. This would be the GoodMaps Explorer. If anybody wanted to check that out. The URL says goodmaps.com, so not too confusing there. And that's just some images of somebody using that and a bit of a description on this webpage about what it does. And then we also have a webpage for the OCO as well. This is the app that tells us about crossings. And that one is actually ayes.ai/OCO. So that one's a little bit different. But again, on the page there, they have a description and some images of that. And this particular device that we're talking about, we're about to talk about here, they don't actually have an image of what the presentation was about, but their website seems to be qdlaser.com. That's laser with an S. I think in America, do you spell laser with a Z? I feel like
I think it's both, but yes.
Okay, well, this one is laser with an S anyway. So you can go to QD. Say again, sorry, Jonathan.
Sorry, I think it's an S. It's an acronym.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we had this conversation with Jonathan before. He told us what laser stood for.
I've seen it with a Z tons of times too. So.
I guess if you spell it wrong, then you spell it with a Z.
Correct.
Yeah. But anyway, so this particular device is a little bit different, and it's a little bit weird.
It's confusing.
It's confusing, yeah. So basically, what they have done is they've been working on retinal projection through the use of quantum dot lasers. Ask me what a quantum dot laser is called.
What is a quantum? What's a QD?
No idea.
What's a QD laser?
I have no idea what a quantum.
It's a very low energy laser that can penetrate the eye and be directly onto the retina.
You should get a job there, yeah.
Well, I mean, I invented it.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Well, you must have done that.
I took a laser pointer and I
shot it in your eye. All right. This is a very low power laser, so it does not damage your eye at all. But the idea is to bypass the lens, to bypass the cornea, and project an image directly on to the retina. Now, the main use case seems to be for people who have refractive error. So if you are long-sighted, short-sighted, if you have astigmatism, then you don't need to worry about wearing glasses because this will project the image directly onto the retina. Yeah. Also, they did mention cataracts as well, but none of this stuff relates to low vision. However, they did then start to talk about using this as a low vision aid, and they had some video with a gentleman with Stargardt in Japan. And also they had a video with Sam and somebody called
Blake, which I find interesting with the Stargardts because of the Stargardts is a damage of that central part of the retina. Anyway.
So we're not 100% sure like how this is supposed to help if you have damage to the retina, but they seem to suggest that it does. But the weirdest thing about it is basically it is an accessory for a regular camera. So you buy it in a kit. It comes with a Sony SLR camera, and the camera slots into this accessory, and this accessory has an eyepiece on it, and so you connect the accessory to the camera via a HDMI cable, and then you look through the eyepiece, and the eyepiece is projecting directly onto the retina whatever the camera is looking at. And so in the video of this Japanese gentleman who had Stargardt's, I think in the video, he was walking around looking at stuff, holding a camera up and using it to look at stuff, and then at some points he had these really long telephoto lenses and stuff like that. I mean, it's cool in the sense that you can swap out camera lenses, and so you've got a lot of variety in terms of the image that you can get to the eye, but also how practical is it to walk around with a camera with a long telephoto lens on as a vision aid?
It was, I mean, I know we were talking with somebody last night, and they mentioned that they saw they were using it, and they were on a sleigh, and they were able to see the horse really clearly in front, and someone like working on the horse, and then as soon as he took it away, you couldn't see it at all. But then someone else was like, it doesn't work at all for me. It actually, I see worse with it. So, and the presentation itself was a bit, they never really, to me, I didn't walk away knowing what it was for and who was it for. Was it photography, or was it a low vision device, or both?
The messaging was very confusing.
Yeah. So, and they might not know yet.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
The cool thing is they have partnered with Sony.
Yes.
And Sony is highly invested in it, it sounds like. So, something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, I think the technology is very promising. There could definitely be interesting applications. And in fact, strangely, in Japan, the company actually has a wearable device that is using this QD laser technology. So on the screen here, I've just brought up their website, and there's like a wearable device here. And so that would be a lot more practical if you're going to do this retinal projection for somebody with a vision loss. It would be a lot more practical to have it in a wearable rather than trying to hold a camera up. So they said that at the moment, that's only in Japan, that particular thing, but perhaps that will come to the States as well. I guess we'll have to see. Jonathan here says laser equals light amplification by a stimulated emission of radiation. All right, I'm going to ask you about that in 5 minutes time, Corey. We'll see if you remembered it, all of those words.
Light amplification of zippity doodah, because I want it to be a Lazer.
Perfect. And from YouTube, Harpreet, how would this work for me? I have glaucoma. My acuity is 20/300. Harpreet, I have no idea.
I mean, actually, though, I think Harpreet, being a glaucoma, that's actually
worked
well. Exactly. I think it's really. I think it's going to work best for individuals who have strong working retinas. If you've got cataracts, astigmatism, like you mentioned, anything happening in the front of the eye. I kind of wonder whether you might be able to change the size of the image that's being projected on the retina. So if you do have peripheral vision loss, you could shrink the image down to fit within that good area. Yeah, if you can focus the cue, those lasers just onto the healthy part. Which they didn't mention, but that could be an interesting use. I mean, also mapping the retina and finding those. I was going to say, each device, not only the mapping part, but then each device would be unique. They'd have to. These kits would have to be tailored. Not necessarily, because I mean, if the lasers can shoot wherever they want to shoot, then all it has to do is shoot in the right direction. So I see. You wouldn't necessarily need custom pieces. You're not changing the laser. You're just changing where. That makes sense. I think there's some interesting applications. Yeah, Harpreet, I recommend fly to Japan. And let us know. And if you could bring us with you to do a YouTube video, that'd be great too. Perfect. All right, well, we are over time here, so thank you everybody for joining us, and thank you for your comments and all of that good stuff. Thank you for the jokes. We do have some more stuff here, but I think everything else that was on our list is going to be in our video that we're going to be releasing. So we're hoping potentially to have three videos. Two of them would be on just interviews with assistive technology manufacturers here. And the third one will possibly be a GoodMaps video. We'll see, depending on time and, we'll see how it goes, logistics. But. Exactly, But anyway, keep tuned to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/infocus. No, it's not. youtube.com/vision-tech
Connect.
There you go.
That's youtube.com/Vision4Tech Connect. Jonathan, if you wouldn't mind putting that into the chat there. And obviously this video will be archived on there, so if you want to go back and check it out, then you will be able to see it on there. We just released a video on Saturday.
Yeah, on the new new indoor navigation of Seeing AI, the World Channel app. Go check it out. It's a cool video.
Yeah, it was a really fun video to make. So and we've had some good response to it. So if you haven't seen that, then go check it out. It's extending the abilities of Seeing AI to give you indoor navigation, which we've just been talking about with GoodMaps there. So that's definitely worth checking out. And of course, we will be back on the live show here in 2 weeks' time. And as we've already said, we are going to be joined by, is it Michael?
Michael.
Michael from Oko, and we will be taking a further look at that app. I do think it's a really cool app, and it's definitely something which is needed. So it's definitely worth tuning in to check that out. Everybody have a great couple of weeks until next time. We will be signing out from CSUN here tomorrow, so we're going to get as much footage as we can today. And maybe if any of you guys come to CSUN next year, hopefully, maybe we'll be here. Maybe we'll be at a different conference.
We'll figure it out.
Anyway.
Just a quick note: no outro music. So we're just going to cancel. We're just going to boot you right out of here. So I know how many of you love to sit and listen. And I am curious, so maybe we could throw it in the chat next time, but how many people wait till the end, and do they know what we do at the end?
Any special surprise
at the end of everyone.
But that won't be happening today. We are just going to close out. So thanks again, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.